Before you were born, God loved you. Before you ever opened your eyes. Before your name was spoken by human lips. Before the world knew you. God already loved you. You were not an accident. You were not a mistake. You were not forgotten. God's love did not start when you prayed. It did not begin when you were good. It did not depend on your success or failure. God's love started before time itself. When the universe was silent. When stars were still waiting to shine. God saw you. He knew your tears. He knew your struggles. He knew your heart. And still, He chose to love you. Human love changes. Today people love you. Tomorrow they forget you. Today they promise forever. Tomorrow they walk away. But God's love is not human love. God does not love you because you are strong. God does not love you because you are perfect. God does not love you because you deserve it. God loves you because He is love. Even when people leave, God stays. Even when the world rejects you, God accepts you. Even when you don't understand yourself, God understands you completely. There were nights when you cried silently. You smiled outside, but your heart was breaking inside. You prayed, but felt no answer. You trusted, but got hurt. You tried, but failed again. And you thought, maybe God has forgotten me. But listen carefully. Those nights were the moments God held you the closest. When you had no strength, God became your strength. When you had no words, God heard your tears. When you felt alone, God sat beside you. Just because you couldn't feel Him doesn't mean He wasn't there. You may have fallen many times. You made mistakes. You chose wrong paths. You trusted wrong people. You hurt yourself. And slowly you started believing, God must be disappointed in me. But God does not stop loving you when you fall. A loving father does not abandon a child. Because the child falls while learning to walk. God sees your heart. He sees your pain. He sees your regret. And He says, my child, get up. My love is still with you. God knows. You are still becoming who you are meant to be. He knows your process is slow. He knows your faith is sometimes weak. He knows you doubt, fear, and question. Yet He waits. Not with anger. Not with punishment. But with patience. God does not rush your healing. God does not force your growth. He walks with you. Step by step. Moment by moment. There may have been a time when no one believed in you. People judged you. Ignored you. Laughed at you. Left you. But even then, God stood for you. When people saw your past, God saw your future. When people saw your weakness, God saw your potential. When people closed doors, God prepared new paths. Sometimes God does not speak loudly. He speaks in silence, in a calm breath, in a sudden peace, in a small hope inside your heart. Even when prayers seem unanswered, God is working behind the scenes. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean rejection. God's love is active even when it is quiet. You may give up on yourself. You may say, "I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. I'm done." But God never says that about you. He never says, "You're finished. You're useless. You're not worthy." God says, "You are mine. I am with you. We will get through this together." When life becomes heavy, when your heart feels tired, when the world feels cruel, God's love becomes your shelter. You don't need perfect words. You don't need perfect faith. Just come as you are. Broken, tired, confused. God's love does not push you away. It pulls you closer. This is not the end of God's love story. This is only the beginning. There is more healing ahead. More peace ahead. More strength ahead. Even if today you don't see it, God's love is already preparing tomorrow. God's love in pain v. broken life. When life breaks you completely, there comes a time in life when pain is not small anymore. It is not just sadness. It is not just disappointment. It is the kind of pain that changes you. You wake up tired. You smile, but it feels heavy. You breathe, but it hurts inside. And you ask quietly, "God, why is my life breaking like this?" But listen carefully. Pain does not mean God has left you. Pain does not mean God is angry with you. Pain does not mean God stopped loving you. Sometimes pain is not punishment. Sometimes pain is preparation. God sees the tears you never show. There are tears no one has ever seen. Tears you wiped before anyone noticed. Tears you cried alone at night. Tears that fell silently inside your heart. People see your face. God sees your soul. People hear your words. God hears your silence. Even when you don't speak, God understands everything. Every tear has a meaning. Every tear has a memory. And God counts them all. Not to judge you, but to heal you. God never wastes your pain. You may think, all this suffering is useless. All this pain has no meaning. All this waiting is destroying me. But God never wastes pain. What hurts today will strengthen you tomorrow. What breaks you now will shape you later. God uses pain to remove what is fake and reveal what is real. Your pain is not the end. It is part of the story. When you feel abandoned by everyone, there are moments when people disappear. Friends stop calling. Promises are forgotten. Support fades away. And suddenly, you are alone. Or at least, you feel alone. But loneliness is not proof that God is absent. Often, God removes people so you can hear His voice clearly. Sometimes He closes human doors so you learn to trust the Divine One. God's love in your weakest version. You don't feel strong anymore. You don't feel confident. You don't feel faithful. You don't even feel hopeful. You feel weak, empty, broken. But God does not love only the strong version of you. He loves the weak version, the tired version, the confused version. Even when you feel unworthy, God's love remains unchanged. When you ask, "Why me?" you ask, "Why did this happen to me? Why do others seem happy? Why am I suffering like this?" These questions don't make you faithless. They make you human. God is not afraid of your questions. He is not offended by your tears. Sometimes the answer is not immediate. Sometimes the answer is not words. Sometimes the answer is God Himself, walking with you through the pain. God's love is closest in pain. The world teaches us that success means God's blessing. But the truth is deeper. God is often closest when life hurts the most. Pain opens your heart in ways comfort never can. In pain, you stop pretending. In pain, you become honest. In pain, you seek God sincerely. And God meets you there. Broken does not mean finished. Broken does not mean useless. Broken does not mean rejected. Broken things are often the most valuable. A broken seed creates a tree. A broken ground produces harvest. A broken heart can receive deeper love. God does not discard broken people. He restores them. God's love heals slowly, not suddenly. Healing is not magic. It is a process. Some days you feel better. Some days the pain returns. That does not mean healing failed. It means healing is real. God heals gently, patiently, lovingly. He knows your heart cannot handle everything at once. God is writing a new chapter. What you are experiencing now is not the final chapter. It is a transition. God is rewriting your story. The pain will not have the last word. The tears will not define you. God's love will. Even this pain will testify. One day, this pain will become a testimony. You will look back and realize that moment didn't destroy me. It shaped me. It saved me. God will use your story to heal others. Your survival will inspire someone. Your faith will strengthen another. Hold on, God is still with you. If today feels heavy, hold on. If your heart feels tired, hold on. If hope feels distant, hold on. God is not done with you. Even now, His love surrounds you. There is a kind of loneliness that exists even in a crowd. People are around you. Voices are everywhere. Yet your heart feels empty. You talk, but no one truly listens. You smile, but no one notices the pain. This loneliness is silent, heavy, deep, and you ask yourself, why do I feel so alone? But listen carefully. This loneliness is not abandonment. Sometimes it is an invitation. God draws near in your quiet moments. God does not always come in noise. He comes in stillness. When the world becomes quiet, when distractions fade, when you are left alone with your thoughts, that is often when God speaks. Loneliness removes the crowd, so you can feel His presence. Not loudly, not forcefully, but gently. When people don't understand you, there are things in your heart you cannot explain. Not because you don't want to, but because words are not enough. People may listen, yet they don't understand. They give advice, but not comfort. They hear your story, but miss your pain. But God understands what words cannot express. He knows the thoughts you never speak. God never leaves the room. You may feel, I am alone. No one is with me. I have no support. But feelings are not facts. God never leaves the room. When you sit quietly, He sits with you. When you cry silently, He stays close. When you feel forgotten, He remembers you. Loneliness is where God reveals Himself. Many people meet God, not in celebration, but in isolation. Not in success, but in silence. Loneliness strips away false dependence. It teaches you that God is enough. What feels empty is being filled. God hears you even when you say nothing. You don't always pray in words. Sometimes you just sit. Sometimes you just breathe. Sometimes you just cry. And that is still prayer. God hears the prayers you never speak. He understands the pain behind your silence. God is closer than you think. You may think God is far, but distance from God is never physical. It is emotional. And even then, God does not step away. He waits patiently, never forcing His way in. When loneliness becomes heavy, loneliness can feel like weight. A heaviness in your chest, a tightness in your heart. You wonder, how long will this last? But loneliness is not permanent. It is a season. And seasons change. God's presence brings quiet strength. God may not remove loneliness instantly, but He gives strength to endure it. Not loud strength. Not dramatic strength. Quiet strength. The kind that keeps you going, even when you don't understand how. You are never truly alone. Even now, as you listen, as you read, you are not alone. God is nearer than your next breath, closer than your own thoughts. God uses loneliness to build intimacy. Loneliness deepens connection with God. It teaches you to listen, to trust, to rest. God is not filling the space with noise. He is filling it with Himself. One day, you will understand. One day you will look back and realize that loneliness saved me. It brought me closer to God. It changed me. What hurt then will make sense later. Stay still, God is here. If today feels quiet, don't be afraid. Stillness is holy ground. God is here. Not leaving. Not ignoring. Not distant. When you fail again and again, there are failures that happen once. And then there are failures that repeat. You promised yourself you would not fall again. Yet you did. You tried harder. You prayed more. Still, you failed. And slowly a voice inside says, maybe I am not good enough for God. But failure does not disqualify you. It reveals your need for grace. God knew your failure before you did. God is never surprised by your mistakes. Before you failed, God already knew. Before you chose wrong, He already saw it. And still, He chose you. God's love is not based on your performance. It is based on His promise. Sin makes you hide, God invites you close. Sin tells you to run away. It fills you with shame. It tells you, hide. Stay silent. You are not worthy. But God never says that. God says, come to me. Even in your worst moment, God invites you closer. Shame is not God's voice. Shame whispers, you are dirty. You are broken. You are beyond repair. But God's voice is different. God says, you are forgiven. You are loved. You are still mine. Conviction leads to repentance. Shame leads to isolation. God brings conviction. The enemy brings shame. God's love is stronger than your sin. No sin is greater than God's love. No mistake is bigger than His mercy. No past is too dark for His light. Where sin increases, grace overflows. God does not measure your worth by your worst day. Falling does not mean you are fake. Struggling does not make you hypocrite. It makes you human. Faith is not perfection. Faith is returning to God. Even after you fall. Again. And again. God honors your return. More than your perfection. God looks at the heart, not the record. People keep records. They remember what you did. They label you. But God looks at the heart. He sees your desire to change. He sees your pain. He sees your repentance. God is not counting your failures. He is counting your steps back. Grace is not permission, it is power. Grace is not an excuse to sin. Grace is strength to rise. Grace does not say, do whatever you want. Grace says, you don't have to stay here. God's love empowers transformation. God restores what sin damaged. Sin destroys. God restores what sin stole. God returns in a better form. Maybe not instantly. Maybe not the same way. But restoration is coming. Even your failure has a purpose. Your failure humbles you. It teaches compassion. It removes pride. God can use your broken past to heal others. Your weakness becomes testimony. God still calls you by name. God does not call you by your sin. He calls you by your name. You are not failure. You are not addiction. You are not mistake. You are child of God. Come back again. If you fell today, come back. If you failed again, come back. God's door is not closed. His arms are open. Grace is waiting for you. Grace is not tired of you. Grace is not angry. Grace is waiting. The wounds no one can see. Not all wounds bleed. Some wounds live deep inside the heart. They come from words spoken carelessly, from promises broken, from trust shattered, from love that disappeared. People say, be strong, move on, forget it. But God knows. You cannot forget pain by command. Healing is not pretending. Healing is feeling safely. God touches the places you hide. There are parts of your heart you hide from everyone. You cover them with smiles. You lock them with silence. But God sees them, and He does not force them open. He waits until you are ready. God's love is gentle. He heals without hurting again. Healing takes time, and God is patient. Healing is not instant. Some days you feel light. Some days the pain returns. That does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. God never rushes healing, because He cares for your heart. God heals through His presence. Sometimes God does not remove the memory. He removes the pain attached to it. The memory stays, but it no longer controls you. That is healing. God heals by staying, not by rushing away. When your heart is tired of trusting, trust breaks the heart. When it is betrayed, after pain, you say, I will never trust again. But God does not force trust. He rebuilds it slowly. First with Himself, then, gently, with life again. God's love is safe. Human love can hurt. God's love never abuses, never manipulates, never abandons. In God's presence, your heart is safe. You don't have to perform. You don't have to impress. Just rest. God heals the fear inside you. Pain creates fear. Fear of loss. Fear of rejection. Fear of being hurt again. God's love casts out fear. Not suddenly, but deeply. As love grows, fear loses its power. God turns tears into healing water. Every tear matters. No tear is wasted. Tears soften the heart, so healing can enter. God does not shame your tears. He honors them. God replaces pain with peace. Peace is not absence of problems. Peace is presence of God. Even when life is loud, peace can live inside you. That peace is healing. Your heart is still valuable. Pain may have told you that you are damaged. But God says, you are precious. Your heart is not broken beyond repair. It is being restored. Healing prepares you for new love. God does not heal your heart to leave it empty. He heals it to fill it again with better love, healthier love, truer love. One day, pain will no longer control you. One day you will wake up and realize It doesn't hurt like it used to. That is healing. Slow. Quiet. Real. Rest in God's love. You don't have to fight anymore. Let God love you. Let Him heal you. There are seasons when God feels silent. You pray. You wait. You hope. But nothing changes. And silence begins to hurt. You wonder, did God stop listening? But silence is not absence. Silence is often work happening unseen. Waiting tests the heart. Waiting is hard. It stretches patience. It tests faith. It weakens hope. Waiting makes you face yourself. But God uses waiting to strengthen what matters most. God works in hidden places. You see no change. But God is working where you cannot see. Roots grow in darkness. And strong roots create strong trees. Silence is God's classroom. God teaches most in silence. In silence you listen. In silence you trust. In silence you grow. Noise distracts. Silence transforms. When you feel forgotten, waiting can make you feel invisible. But God never forgets. Delay is not denial. Timing is protection. God is preparing you, not punishing you. If God wanted to punish you, He would not keep you close. Waiting means God is preparing you for something greater. Faith grows in waiting. Faith that waits is faith that matures. Anyone can trust when answers come fast. True faith stays when answers delay. God's silence has purpose. Silence builds depth. It removes dependency on instant results. It deepens relationship. God's timing is perfect. What comes early can destroy you. What comes late can teach you. God gives at the right time. You are not wasting your life. Waiting is not wasted time. It is becoming time. You are growing. Even if you feel stuck, God sees your patience. Every moment of waiting is seen. Every tear in waiting is counted. God honors patience. Silence will break. The silence will end. God will speak. And when He does, you will understand the wait. Stay still, God is working. Do not rush. Do not quit. God is working quietly.